Hey everyone, Stuff You Should Know is supported by another podcast we are big fans of. It's called IRL. It's an entertaining look at the good, the bad, the trends, and the impacts of this new modern world on us as humans. And it's made by the nonprofit Mozilla, the tech company that puts people over profit to dig into what's happening online and how it affects you in real life. Subscribe to IRL wherever you get your podcasts. Hi, everybody. This is Chuck again with another edition of Stuff You Should Know Selects, our Saturday Classic Edition episodes. And as you know, we're curating these one at a time, and this week I got to pick, and I picked how maps work. And I picked this one because everyone knows I love maps, and so I thought it was a good one to rerun. Plus, I get to talk a little bit about my old high school best friend, Rad, who is a cartographer, and I'm always happy to get the word out about his work. So listen and enjoy.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know from HowStuffWorks.com.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark, and there's Charles W. Chuck Bryant, and I just had a bunch of peanuts. So it's Stuff You Should Know time.
Circus edition.
Yep.
I wonder if we could get REM's Maps and Legends to play just subtly behind this entire podcast in a loop.
I can answer that for you.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
What album is that from? Or is that an album?
Boy, that was the early one. I think, I don't know, maybe like Reckoning even. No.
Oh, yeah.
Again, people are at home screaming at me because I can't call that to mind.
Was that their first one? Reckoning?
Let's just move on. I'm afraid to get anything wrong.
Yeah, that's cool. People who are into REM are really into REM.
Maps and Legends, good song.
Chuck.
Yeah.
Have you ever used a map?
I have. I am notoriously terrible with my sense of direction. Like, literally, almost all the time, if I say, it's left, isn't it? They say, no, it's right.
We just talked about this.
Yeah, and because if I try to trick myself and go, I think it's left, so I'm going to say right, then it's left. Like, it's terrible. I've talked about it before. It's really...
Yeah, we did recently. I can't place why or where.
It's just my brain, man. It doesn't work that way. So, yeah, I use maps, and I'm one of those people that has to turn the map in the direction I'm facing, and
right.
It's tough for me.
So, when you were using a map, you could have also said, or that you're terrible at using maps. You can say, I'm terrible at using two-dimensional, contorted, grossly misrepresentative images.
Yeah.
That supposedly are, they stand for different data points of the Earth.
That's right.
That's another way you could put maps. Because it turns out that they're actually not so great. Even though they are extraordinarily useful, they're portable. Now that you can get them online, they're more portable than ever. And we would be pretty much nowhere without them as far as the imperial colonization of the world went.
Yeah. But
we still have not licked some very fundamental, basic problems with maps.
Maps and Legends was on Fables, by the way.
So you didn't even hear what I just said, huh?
I heard it all. And I agree. 100%.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm placated.
The problem is, dude, is the Earth is not a flat piece of paper or a computer screen.
No.
The Earth is sort of shaped like a pumpkin.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
I didn't either. Apparently the middle is getting bigger, too.
You know what? I just realized what Tracy, who wrote this, meant by pumpkin. Like, she didn't mean the tall pumpkin.
Well, yeah, pumpkins come in all shapes.
Right. So which pumpkin was she referring to? I think like the shorter, rounder, a round pumpkin.
Yeah. But apparently I think the Earth is supposedly getting bigger, expanding at its center. Not in the center, but it's getting more pumpkin-y, I think.
Huh.
More pumpkin-like.
Okay, so maps are getting less and less accurate then.
Maybe.
Because here's the problem. A map, like we said, it's a two-dimensional representation of something that's three-dimensional.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
A map is flat, and it's representing something that's round, spherical-ish. Yeah. And if you take a pumpkin, go to your pantry right now and get one of the pumpkins that you have there, and take a piece of paper off of a roll, say a newsprint.
Yeah. And
tear enough off to go all the way around the pumpkin, and you will see that if you you take a pumpkin and mash the paper around it so that the pumpkin's completely covered, you're going to have something that's just grossly distorted. That's a map. It's a gross distortion of what's real. So much so that if you see a map that accurately represents what the continents look like and how close they are and the amount of size they each have, you'd probably be pretty startled because it doesn't look like what we're used to, which is called the Mercator projection.
Yeah. And it's funny, when I was reading this, I remember thinking to myself, like, if you're going to make cheats, like, make them in the ocean. And I think that's a lot of times what they do.
Yeah,
because no one would notice,
The good homolazine. The good homolazine. Good as in somebody's last name with an E.
Yeah.
It basically distorts or chops up the world in the oceans. So it's real good for landmass. But it'd be terrible if you're driving like an oil tanker across the sea. Yeah,
you don't want to navigate by these things.
No, and so since there's different ways to distort a map, there's different uses for different types of maps or distortions, which we call projections.
Right.
We'll get into that a little more later on. Let's talk about the basics of all maps, right? A map is essentially a representation of, like we said, data points on Earth.
Yeah, and it can represent whatever. There's different attributes. You can, if you wanted to show a map of distribution of golden retriever ownership, you could do that on a map.
You totally could.
Or the GDP of different countries, or land use. It's basically an easy way. It's an easy language to show someone in picture form various attributes.
Right.
Yep.
And maps are created by people called cartographers, which is great. And like we said, there's some basic commonalities to all maps, right?
Yeah, I kind of collect maps, by the way.
I know, you told me.
Not like a bunch, but I've got like 6 or 8 maps.
Any pirate maps?
No pirate maps, but my entire desk, I made my desk, and it is I've got a map of the world on it that's like 4 feet by 3 feet.
That's neat.
And then I shellacked over that, and that's like my the base of my desk.
That is neat.
Yeah, it's really cool because I'll reference it a lot, actually.
I like the I could stand to do that a lot more.
Yeah.
New England. No idea.
Well, it's like looking up a word in the dictionary when you don't know it, referring to an atlas if you're like, hey, where's Kuala Lumpur?
But I don't have a map, and suddenly, oh my God, Miss Teen South Carolina's answer has come to pass. Like, I don't have a map, and I'm not bad with maps, and I think if you gave me like a little time, I would be able to find anything.
Sure.
But because I don't have a map for easy reference, like I use online maps now.
Yeah.
But, if I had one for easy reference, I think I would be a lot better at geography.
I think everybody, forget your computer, that's very handy, but I think everyone should own a globe and or a map of the world.
Yeah.
Just to have it.
Right.
It's nice to have. Frame it, put it on your wall. They're very attractive. It's art.
Right.
All right.
I like the 50s, 60s maps. Like the kind you'd find at school.
Yeah, yeah.
From that era. I just like the design of them, the look.
Yeah, Kevin Kinane, one of the comedians I saw at Max Fun, was talking about his pillows and how if you unsheath his pillow, how nasty it is, and it looks like an ancient map of the world. It's like brown with those like lines.
Yeah, what is that stuff?
It's he basically is like, this stuff is like leaks from your head while you sleep.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's a funny bit.
Okay, so the basic commonalities of maps are, number one, usually land masses or bodies of water. So you're going to have an outline of what you're talking about or what you're trying to show.
Yeah. Are you talking about like a physical map?
Yeah. Well, I mean, any map's going to have that, but yes,
sure.
Physical maps are more like the terrain of an area.
Right.
That's what a physical map's concerned with.
Yeah, and they use something called hypsometric tints, variations of color to obviously, usually your water's blue and then the land can be green to brown or white if it's like the Swiss Alps,
Yeah. Have you ever seen a map where the water isn't blue?
The one on my desk is. It's tan.
What?
Yeah, it's the whole thing is
Are
all
you
the
sure
oceans.
You're not reading it backwards?
No, there's no blue. It's all tan. Yeah, it's tan.
Huh. I've never seen that.
Like the tan globe?
No.
You've seen like the tan globe where the globe isn't like blue and green. That's basically what this is. It's like
I'm still having trouble wrapping my head around it.
Yeah, next time you're in my home office, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
You can have political maps that display like different cultural information about countries.
Mm-hmm.
Thematic maps obviously have a theme like climate or GDP, like I said, or you can get really specialized like, hey, where's the internet available in the world? Let's draw a map instead of listing a bunch of countries.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and thematic maps, those are probably the ones you see the most, aside from using a map for street directions.
Yeah.
Thematic maps are the ones you run across. Like, it'll be all sorts of things, like you just mentioned, population density,
sure,
oil exports, all that.
Yeah. All right, Josh, let's talk about what they call cartography conventions. And this is not when a bunch of cartographers get together at, the downtown Hilton in Atlanta and talk about maps. Although, I'm sure they do that. I'm sure there are real cartography conventions.
Yeah.
We're talking about conventions in the sense of oft-used techniques.
Right.
One of them, which I have already broken with my map, is that, like we said, water's blue.
That's so weird. I don't understand.
Land is green, vegetation's green or brown or tan, land masses.
Yeah.
That's just one of the common conventions. So,
what color is the landmass then if the water on your map is tan?
They're also tan and green and brown and...
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's really not that big of a deal.
I'll go look it up.
I will post a photo of this, of my map.
Okay.
Online on Facebook when we do this, and everyone will go, oh, that doesn't look so weird.
Okay.
All right. I feel like a jerk now because my water's not blue.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm just having trouble understanding it, that's all.
Yeah.
All maps depict their subject matter from above.
Yeah.
That's something that you just don't even really think of. It's such a common convention.
Sure. North is usually at the top.
Yeah.
Generally, or if it's not, for some reason, they'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Say this is north, this is south, east, and west.
Yeah.
They have legends a lot of times.
Yeah, maps and legends.
Like we talked about with REM.
And scale is usually indicated. So, like, it'll be like 1 inch equals 100 miles, or there's like 1 to, like, there's a ratio or something like that.
Yeah, and this is all the gobbledygook you find on the outskirts of the map. There's usually lots of stuff written down that you may not look at. That's where you'll find this information.
And this should include in the legend that, like, Hawaii and Alaska are not actually right next to one another in the South Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
As it seems.
That's true.
That's just odd.
Well, like we said, it's tough, when you got a round or a pumpkin-like world.
Right.
Coordinate system a lot of times, or not a lot of times, every time you'll see a map, there's going to be some kind of a coordinate system. If it's a Thomas guide, like before the advent of online smartphone maps, when I lived in LA, the Thomas guide was your best friend.
Yeah.
And that's just a simple grid system. Like you look up, hey, I want to go to Topanga Canyon, go to page 400 and look up F6.
Right.
And then you'll just map your way from there.
Yeah. The alphabet's across the top, the numbers run down the side, and you find F6 and sink someone's battleship.
If it's like a map of the world, they're probably going to show you longitude and latitude.
Right.
But not necessarily something you can navigate with,
No, but it should be accurate is the point.
Well, accurate, but not like you don't want to take a map of the world into the woods if you're orienteering,
Oh, right.
You want a topographical map.
Right.
Which are tricky to read, by the way. Have you ever looked at a topo map? And,
yeah.
Like been camping and stuff?
Because you were talking about hypsometric tints to indicate different changes in altitude, right? Or elevation.